I recently posted about the fact I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, and I want to talk about it. Up until 24 hours ago, I did not know that was actually the total of all of my debt, credit cards, and student loans. That number also does not include my auto loan, and if we are adding in my auto loan, the total number is $110,938.83. Since totaling up all of my debt, I don't think I've actually gotten one good breath of oxygen in the last 24 hours. I feel like there is a elephant sitting on my chest, and I don't think I can sit still because all I keep repeating is $95,487.73.
Can you relate to this? I can understand getting lost in the totals, especially when you are just signing the promissory notes as you're going through financial aid every few semesters or every year of what you're awarded and what the loans are going to look like, for that specific school year. But when you leave and you graduate and you get that first bill and you're like, hold up, what's the amount? So let's see how she got here.
All of this debt was racked up through decisions I made between the ages of 18 and 26. My first associate's degree I got from a community college and I didn't have to pay for because of the Pell Grant, but I decided to go to a university and got my bachelor's degree, which is where I really started to rack up the debt. Then in the last 2 years, I decided to finish a nursing degree at a community college in the last 2 years, but that's where I started to rack up even more debt. What really sucks is realizing that the majority of these student loans is not from tuition. It's actually from living expenses and living way above my means. My debt comprises of 2 credit cards, 5 federal student loans, and 5 private Sallie Mae loans. I can handle the federal student loans, but when I tell you Sallie Mae is bending me over and not in a way I like, it's actually insane. Sallie Mae is genuinely evil and they prey on young students. And the reason why they take advantage of young students is because they know if you're reaching out to a private loan like that, you genuinely need it. Out of the 5 Sallie Mae loans I have, one of the interest rates that is the highest is 16.28%. The lowest interest rate I have with Sallie Mae is 9.88%. Now, my federal student loans are between 4 and 6%, which I think is manageable. Although I had parents who would tell me what I should or shouldn't do, I never had anybody really sit me down and fully teach me financial literacy. I never had anybody sit me down and really explain to me the scope of what I was doing and what it would look like in the future when I had to pay for it. In the moment, all of the student loans just felt like fake money because they just kept coming and I just kept spending.
You don't really grasp the whole situation completely because when you're signing those promissory notes, you're signing them for $5,000 here, $8,000 there, not necessarily totally taking into the full account what that total is. That total was crazy.
I don't regret any of the experiences I've had between the ages of 18 and 26 or any of the things that I've done, but I do wish that I managed my finances way better than this.
So the other day, me and one of my friends were talking about if we could turn back the hands of time. If I could turn back the hands of time. Anyway, if I could turn back the hands of time, what are some of the things that I would change? And one of the most major things that we discussed was our finances. I feel like her story is so relatable to many of us, including myself. When I left college, I was drowning in debt myself. And this is because I did take out student loans for my living expenses. I was off campus due to being a single parent at the time. So I needed those funds to assist me as I was going through and getting my bachelor's.
I think what's even more sad is a lot of these student loans were going to rent, which my rent was around $1,200 a month, and that's been consistent over the last 2-3 years. Thankfully, I do have a finance bro as a boyfriend, and he is really great at managing money and managing wealth, and so I am working with him to do a snowball effect. If I snowball all of my loans at the current rates that they are without consolidating them, I can pay all of this off by 2032. It's really sad because I'm excited about starting my first nursing job next month, but at the same time, I know that all of the money I'm making is going to debt. I'm turning 27 this year, and I wish I could be thinking about starting a family or getting married or buying a house, but really, I can't think about anything but paying off this debt. The last thing I would want to do is bring a child into this world while I have debt hanging over my head. So it almost feels like my life is kind of on hold right now, but I feel like it's even more motivation to just pay this off as quickly as possible. It is what it is. What's done is done. And at the end of the day, if you are in your early 20s and you're thinking about taking out student loans, I urge you to reconsider and ask yourself whether or not you really truly need it. If I knew then what I know now, I would tell myself that no experience, no desire, no want is worth the stress that I feel now.
It is such a good thing that she has someone that she can rely on to help her with her finances going forward, and that she has a target date of completion of making those payments by 2030 or 32. And she might be able to, double some payments here and there and maybe finish early. So that's a good thing that she has that. Okay, so after that story, we need some money tips, right? All right, so take a look at these videos.
These are the 4 accounts that everyone should have open by the age of 30. So first we're going to start with the traditional checkings account. I personally don't keep no more than $500 in my checkings account, and we're going to get into the other accounts of where the rest of my money is going to. But before we get into that, your checkings account is pretty simple. This is the account your money is being deposited into. This is the account that you go to the ATM to withdraw money, where you pay rent from, etc. Now to get into a high yield savings account, this is not a regular savings account. Okay. And actually, if you have a savings account, I would highly recommend to close that and open up a high yield savings account. And the reason for that is because a regular savings account is earning you nothing. A high yield savings account is offering you a higher interest rate. So if you're going to save your money anywhere, you might as well save it in an account that you can earn more money on. This account is perfect if you're saving for that dream car you want, a house, wedding, anything. Deposit all your savings into that high yield savings account so you can earn more money while doing so. Now to get into a Roth IRA account, which is an individual retirement account where contributions are made after tax dollars. If you ever hear people talk about that magical account that can save you over $1 million when it comes time to retire, this is the account they're talking about. But the mistake a lot of people make with a Roth IRA account is they open it up, they get so excited, they deposit all this money, and they think their money is just magically growing. It's not unless you're actually investing in something. There are many investment options that you can invest in with the Roth IRA, such as stocks or ETFs. If you just deposit money into this account and then take that deposited money and invest it into an ETF, for example, like VU, you'll be good to go. That's what I do. Just keep in mind that there is a limit of what you can deposit into a Roth IRA account each year. And for 2025, the limit is set to $7,000. Lastly, we're going to get into a 401k, which a lot of people do mistake a Roth IRA account and a 401k. They are different, but they're also similar. They're both retirement accounts. However, the Roth IRA account is using after-tax dollars. So once you retire and you're ready to withdraw all that money from your Roth IRA account, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. But for the 401k, you will have to pay taxes once you retire. A 401k is created by your employer and they do choose the bank, but you can still go in and manage the account. For example, you can go in and choose the percent of what you want withheld from your paychecks and put into your 401k. My only recommendation with a 401k is to make sure you're meeting the company's match. So if your company is set to 5% company match, make sure your 401k is also set to 5% to be withheld from each paycheck. Otherwise, you're just missing out on free money. Free money. Like, please let your money work for you.
Now, mind you, no one on here is saying that they're a financial advisor. These are just tips from ordinary people, but you can always go ahead and reach out to a financial advisor, someone from your bank, so on and so forth to get better information. But I just want to share these tips here and you can take from them what you will.
Before I walk in, I wanted to give you guys 5 money tips that I wish I knew in my 20s. Tip number 1, you have to put your money to work. All right, simply just letting your money sit in a savings account is a very bad idea. You need to open a Vanguard, Charles Schwab, or Ameritrade investment account. Today, your average return on a savings account is 0.24%. Your average return on an investment account is about 10%. Plus, it's so much easier to start investing in stocks when you don't have a lot of money as opposed to like a real estate. Second tip, I like to call it the 70-30 rule. It is less about how much money you made, it's more about how much money you retain. Personally, if I was to make $1,000, I would immediately put $700 away and I figure out how to live on $300. And this is where the discipline comes in, because you have to figure out how to live on that $300. That $700 should go into an account that you'll never see again until you're about 50 or 60 years old. Third tip, you just need to make more money. Well, how do I make more money? It's so hard out here. One of the quick and easiest ways to start making money right now is to monetize your social media. If you got social media, you need to be monetizing it. Why are you on it if you're not making money from it? Here's the blueprint. Pick a topic, focus on that topic, study that topic, teach that topic, brands will find you. It is that fucking simple. Not saying it's going to happen for you overnight, but it is a very quick and easy way to make money. I have made well over $500,000 in brand deals from social media alone. I want you to actually calculate a rough estimate how much money you have spent on going out, drinking, partying, buying bags, all shit that doesn't bring you any return. Imagine if you had put that into an investment account. Sure, it's well over $10,000, especially if you live in America. Fourth money tip I wish I knew in my 20s, you have to change your mindset. You were absolutely not put here to go to school, work 40, 50 years for somebody else, and then die. Being broke is the modern day slavery. You have no say, you have no freedom, you have no women, you have nothing. And this is why they don't teach us this in school. Last and final tip before I go in here is to pay attention to your money. I want you to treat your money as if it was your wife. If you neglect her, she'll end up leaving you. To study her, pay attention. Be chivalrous. Open doors for her. Don't put her into dangerous situations. Make sure she gets home safe. Simple. This video helps.
If your parents didn't teach you about money and you're just floundering your way through life trying to figure this shit out, listen. Mine didn't teach me either, and I totally screwed up my financial situation. By the age of 25, I was broke as hell, in a lot of debt, and very much struggling. So take it from me when I say it does not have to be this way. You can create a life of financial security and financial freedom. You just have to sacrifice a little bit, and you have to spend the time and effort to get there. You have to love yourself enough and care about your future enough to tell yourself no sometimes and to sit down and actually make the effort to make plans that are going to move you forward. Now, what do those plans look like? Well, the first thing you need to do is print out your bank statement, see where all your money has been going. I say this every single time because it is true. This is where I started, and I realized that a lot of my money was going to fast food. And there's nothing wrong with fast food, but you need to include that in your budget and put a limit on it if you actually want to make progress. Otherwise, that is going to eat into your budget and it's going to eat all your money. Once you figure out where your money is going, that frees up money and allows you to be able to save a safety net for yourself, to be able to go hard on your debt payoff and actually pay it off. It allows you to get 6 months worth of expenses in your savings so that you're not worried about losing your job or losing your income. It allows you to invest into your future so that you can maybe even retire early, or you can retire eventually with millions of dollars in the bank. And if you think this sounds crazy or not attainable for you, I want you to stop and reframe that because yes, it is. It is possible for you. I used to be there and I thought it wasn't possible, and if I would have continued down that road, I would still be broke today.
Here's one financial mistake I made in my 20s, and honestly, a lot of older people still make the same mistake. That's keeping your money in a traditional checking account because you're just earning pennies, which should be criminal. And trust me, I get it because schools aren't going to teach you this, and I'm not sure if my parents knew about high yield savings because they will always talk, just put your money in the bank because that's what smart people do. But here's the truth. A high yield savings means that you're going to make higher interest, which means you make more money. And most of these banks, you're just going to find them online. And right now, because of the interest rates, typically anywhere from 4% or more you can make in your money just for saving. So don't get it twisted. This isn't investing. This isn't risking anything. This is you just saving your money somewhere you can make more. And this is the mistake I made. So when I was younger, I used to think a couple $100 a year probably wouldn't matter. But now that I'm older, I'm realizing every penny matters. So if you're like me and you want a cushion and you don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, you need to make sure that your savings is actually working for you. So here's your reminder. Open a high yield savings account. It takes literally 5 minutes.
Listen to this. 5 things I wish I knew about money as a kid. Number 1, money is not supposed to be saved. It's supposed to be invested, ultimately gaining value. The more money you save, the less value it is because it only benefits the bank. So therefore, money should be invested. You keep an emergency savings, but everything else is supposed to be invested. Number 2, you sell your time for money, but ultimately you invest the money that you made from selling your time so you don't have to continue to sell your time. Ultimately, if you don't, you're going to continue to sell your time for the rest of your life. Number 3, buying expensive things don't make you rich. Just because you wear luxury items don't mean that you're a luxury person. You're just a luxury consumer. Sometimes we get so caught up in labels that we don't realize that we're not investing our money in ourselves. Ultimately, buying the labels, making the labels richer while making us poorer. Number 4, money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you peace. So ultimately, use your money so you can buy yourself peace. And the reason being is because bills come with a lot of stress. Ultimately, understanding the more money you make and the less bills you have, the less stress you have. Number 5, make sure you date someone that's financially yoked, meaning on an equal playing field as you. Because it's sad when you're dating someone who has high expectations and what you can do for them, but they don't realize how they can help you get to the levels. See, when you date someone, you have to understand it's a business. Business is also an investment. So understanding there's a difference between an asset and there's a difference between a liability. If I would have taught myself and I would have knew as a kid the difference between assets and liabilities, I would have made better choices. So I suggest you share this video with your child and let your child see this right now, because some adults still haven't learned this to this day. Don't let that go over your head.
So I hope these tips were helpful. Feel free to reach out to a financial advisor if you can, or go to your local bank branch, talk to someone there to get some more professional information, if you will. But you can also just take some of these tips and do your own research as well on what you need to do going forward. It's about making, small steps towards a better future. You got this. So let me know if you can relate to this story. And you know what? Also, let me know if you have any financial tips. Put them down in the comments. We appreciate all those great tips that you give. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. If you notice in some of my videos, I add bloopers at the end. But I said, you know what? I do also have voiceover bloopers. I'm going to add these here too. All right, enjoy. Now, I love a good song. So when I was thinking about turning back the hands of time, I thought about these 3 songs. Don't get at me if I can't sing them right. Just listen. I immediately thought about this song, If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time, which led me to think of Cher's If I Could Turn Back Time. And then Usher, If I Could Rewind the Time. My mind is all over the place with music, but either way, if I could turn back time, I would make so many different choices regarding my finances. My voice is cracking. Now, I love a good song. And so when we were having our conversation about turning back the hands of time, I immediately thought about driving in the car to visit my grandmother. That song, If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time. Well, I do. Me and my mom used to drive to see my grandmother every Sunday, and this song would come on like the oldies but goodies station. Not even But either way, if I could rewind the time, turn back that hand of time, I would make a lot of changes financially. But over time, and on top of that, compounded interest, because these loans have compounding interest, and that's how they make their money. Please feel free to add that down in the comments. We love tips here. So after looking at her story, I feel like it would be dutiful of me to share some tips from other people. If I could rewind the time and get inside your mind, I would take back all my words. So if you've ever been in debt, you know the feeling. We can make a change for the better. We can, this is, it's tough right now. Let me stop. Right now, it's a hard time for many of us. And when we think about debt and things that are accumulating, it's hard. It gets really tough to just look at our money and be like, okay, I ain't got shit. And I'm sure she can probably maybe indie blah, blah, blah forward. And that she has a target gate. If I could turn back time. If I could turn back the hands of time.